Yes guys, Max here, back again with a brand new video, and I'm coming to you live all the way in sunny Spain. I say sunny Spain, I'm stuck in the bedroom at the minute filming this video because I've realised I didn't film a Premier League predictions video. I was meant to film it a few days ago before I came out here, but the Premier League starts today. So we're going to be going through our Premier League predictions from 20th all the way to 1st, and we need to just jump into this because there's a few hours until the Prem season starts. In 20th place, I've gone with Sheffield United. It's a bit strange over there at the minute. I don't really trust the manager, Paul Heckingbottom. I don't think he's going to be there for that long anyway. I think it's a bit ludicrous that they're selling the best players that got them into the Premier League in the first place. Iliman Ndiaye, Sanderberg, obviously Marseille and Burnley have signed them too respectively. They've lost the best players. They've come into the Premier League with a much worse squad than they had in the Championship. 19th place is another newly promoted team. It's Luton Town. I'm not convinced at all with Luton. I think they could make Kenilworth Road a bit of a fortress at the start of the season when they're allowed to play there, that is. But I'm not impressed by the signings. The manager, Rob Edwards, he's a decent manager, don't get me wrong, but the signings they're making, I'm not impressed at all. They seem to be players from the Championship, League One, and then, you know, your Ross Barkleys, the free agents who have got a little bit of Premier League experience. I think they're expecting to go down and they're building a really good Championship level squad, so if they do go down, they can come straight back up, which I do rate, but for the first season in the Premier League, I've got them to go down. The last of the relegated spots, there's been a few clubs murmured around. I've gone for Nottingham Forest. I think I'm one of the only people to go with Nottingham Forest, but yeah, I'm just not really convinced. I think Steve Cooper could be one of the first managers to be sacked as well in the season. That's a little bold prediction for you lot. And again, they didn't really need to make signings because they made a lot the last few years. Well, especially last season, they brought in, 30-odd players. So they didn't need to make signings, but the ones they have brought in, Anthony Elanga, decent signing. But other than that, it's just there. 17th place, I've gone for a team that a lot of people are putting to go down because of the manager walking out a few days ago. And it's all uproar at the club. I've gone for Wolves in 17th place. Obviously, they've not really brought any players in. Mateus Cunha, that deal was made permanent. They've brought Matt Doherty back into the club. But other than that, they've lost players and they've not replaced them. Raul Jimenez, a striker, gone. Adama Traore gone. Neves, Moutinho, two decent midfielders. Nathan Collins has gone to Brentford. They've lost a lot of players. Gary O'Neill's just been appointed as the new manager, as we know. I don't think he's going to be there throughout the whole season. I do think he'll be sacked halfway through. Sorry, that's a bit of a sour note, and he's only just been appointed and I've predicted him to get sacked. 16th place, I've gone for Crystal Palace. I've actually put them quite low. Another team I've put quite low. That might come back to bite me as well. But again, I'm just not entirely convinced. They've lost Wilfred Zaha. They've still got Eze. Maybe Elise will go out the door as well. Brought in the young Brazilian. I think it's Franca. He looks decent. Fullbacks is a weak point for them. I mean, Joel Ward and Nathaniel Klein on the right-hand side. Then they've then got Tyreek Mitchell on the left with no real competition. But yeah, Crystal Palace, I think Roy Hodgson won't stay there the whole season either. I think he'll be gone by Christmas, and I've gone for 16th place. In 15th place, I've gone for a bit of a drop-off from last season. I've gone for Fulham. I think with no Mitrovic, obviously he's threatening on leaving the club. He said he's never going to play for Fulham again. We don't know what's the deal with that. I mean, the Premier League season starts tonight, so will he be featured over the weekend? Who knows? Looks like Marco Silva might stay, but again, the lack of business coming in from Fulham, I'm not convinced again. Calvin Bassey's a great signing. Raul Jimenez is going to get you a few goals, but it's Hudson-Odoi and Damari Gray. They've been linked with these players for a few weeks and still not got those deals over the line. And Marco Silva, I feel like he's been let down by the board. Maybe it's because Marco Silva looked like he was going to leave, but I think he's committed his future now, so I don't know why the board are letting him down on that department. 14th place, I've gone for Everton. I've put them quite high compared to the last few seasons. I think last season at Goodison Park's going to play a big factor. They've just brought in a young striker from Sporting. I think it's Shamiti. He looks the real deal. I think he's going to be decent. They're linked with Ekitike as well from PSG. So they're linked with all these strikers, which is what they need because Calvert-Lewin, he can't stay fit for more than 45 minutes. You know what Sean Dyche can do at this level, and I think he's going to push Everton up more this season. I think 14th place is where I've got Everton. I think that's decent. I think Toffees will take that. 13th place, I've gone with the last of the newly promoted teams. I've gone for Burnley Football Club, of course. They are in action tonight against Manchester City. Put down in the comments your score predictions for that game, by the way. But yeah, I think Vincent Kompany, he spent, I think, nearly over £100 million with this Burnley team, and A lot of the players people haven't heard of, but I think that's exciting. Vincent Kompany coming in is probably the best thing that could happen to that football club. They've been poaching players from all around Europe, young players as well, and I think Burnley will be solid. 13th, I think they definitely will take that. 12th place, I've gone for Bournemouth. I've put them quite high. I think this new manager, Iraola, I think he's going to cook this season. I think he's going to be one of them underrated managers. I mean, they were talking about Gary O'Neill. Why did they sack him? I was like that at first when they sacked Gary O'Neill, but when they replaced him with Iraola, you can't get much better in an appointment for Bournemouth. I can see them having a good season, mid-table sort of finish, 12th place. A lot better than last season, and a lot of teams put them to go down this and last season, so if they just keep progressing, keep going up, who knows? 11th place, I have gone with West Ham United. I have got them just finishing in the lower half of the table. They've had a slow start to the transfer window. I think David Moyes feels a bit let down by the board in terms of how quick they're moving in the market, although the last few weeks they've started to, pick up the pace a bit. Linked with moves for Harry Maguire, Scott McTominay, James Ward-Prowse I think is going to get done today. Also I've signed Edson Alvarez from Ajax, a decent little player in the midfield, maybe a bit of a replacement for Declan Rice. I think West Ham will be okay. I think they'll have a really slow start to the season until sort of the end of August, start of September, when these new signings are going to start playing. I think David Moyes might be under the cosh a little bit, maybe get sacked this season. That's just a bold prediction. Also, they are in European football, as we know, but I think they'll concentrate more on the league this season. Someone's telling me I think they'll have a bad Europa League this year. I think maybe get grouped or early knockout round exit. But you never know, because we don't know who they're going to bring in. I mean, Lucas Paqueta's linked with a big money move to Man City as well. So if they can get, 170 million for Rice and Paqueta, I think they're taking that. They just need to reinvest that money in the right players, and that's where I'm worried a bit for West Ham, and that's why I've put them in 11th place. 10th place, I've gone for Brentford, bang smack in the middle. Last season, I predicted Brentford to finish quite low. I think second season syndrome, that's what I was sort of thinking, but they proved me wrong massively yet again. I think with no Ivan Toney, they're relying on Mbeumo, Wissa, Schade. I think that's where they're going to struggle a bit. The goals won't be flowing. I mean, you're literally taking out a 25-goal-a-season striker in Ivan Toney out your team for the first half of the season. So they are going to struggle with goals. But I think the defence is quite solid, and I think they'll cook this year. I think Brentford will be okay. 10th place. 9th place, a bit of a drop-off from last season. I have gone for Brighton, and that is mainly because of their European involvement this year. I don't think it'll be too much of a distraction, but I don't think the squad is big enough to play in both competitions at the same time. Obviously, Alexis McAllister's gone to Liverpool for a decent sum, and it looks like Moises Caicedo will go to Chelsea. It looked like Liverpool about an hour ago, but apparently he's turned down Liverpool. I've got to say, I am quite happy about that. I hope he goes to Chelsea over Liverpool. I mean, we had the chance of signing him for £4 million a few years ago, and now he's going for 120 million. It's an absolute joke. But you've got to give credit to Tony Bloom and Brighton. They are just buying these players for cheap sums and tripling it, quadrupling the sum. Over 100 million for a Brighton and Hove Albion player. Mental. They've brought in the likes of James Milner, Dahoud, João Pedro. I think are 3 really good signings. I think they do need another centre-back though. Obviously they don't have Levi Colwill this year. He's staying at Chelsea. I think Brighton will be fine. 9th place, I think they'll take that, especially if they have a decent European run as well. I just think they need a few more signings to get over that line, but who says they're not going to anyway? We don't know what they're going to do. I mean, if they're getting all this money for Caicedo, they can really reinvest that money. 8th place, I've gone for Aston Villa, another team that are competing in Europe this season. It's not the Champions League, it's not the Europa League, it is the Conference League, but still, I think Aston Villa's squad is looking very tasty. Tielemans, Pau Torres, Moussa Diaby, 3 unbelievable signings for Aston Villa. Add that to a squad that already has Watkins, Boubacar Kamara, Douglas Luiz, Diego Carlos, Emi Martinez, and the list goes on. They've got such a good squad, Aston Villa. I think their starting 11 is better than a lot of teams in the league. But again, just like the European football equation, I think they are going to struggle a little bit. But I can see them winning the Conference League. I can see that. I think they're going to prioritise that a bit like West Ham did last season. Finishing in 7th place, I've gone for Newcastle United. Don't crucify me, Newcastle fans. I think actually on paper, Aston Villa have got a better squad than Newcastle, but I think Newcastle, Champions League nights, I think they're going to be more experienced. I was so close to swapping Newcastle and Aston Villa, but I've gone with Newcastle in 7th. I'm sticking with it. Last season, obviously, they surprised everyone getting into that top 4, qualifying for the Champions League. But I do think they are going to prioritise that more. I think them Tuesday nights at St James's Park, it can become a fortress and I think they will do quite well in the Champions League, resulting in a bit of a lower finish in the Premier League. 6th place, just creeping into that Europa League spot, I have gone for Tottenham Hotspur under their new manager Ange Postecoglou. Harry Kane looks like he's joined Bayern Munich as of this recording, 100 Great British pounds, well about 110 really, to Bayern Munich. So yeah, it's looking like that deal is about to be done. Spurs obviously have got that money, they can reinvest and replace him, but I don't know if they need to. That's all I'm going to say. I think with Son, Richarlison, Kulusevski, obviously they got that new signing, Veliz, the Argentine forward. I don't know if they need to strengthen. Maybe bring another one in. They have got Solomon as well. Forgot about him, a new signing. So they've got quite a lot of depth up top. Players like Van der Veen's come in, so he's going to help out the defensive unit. James Maddison, a massive signing. I think he's going to be the most played player in this Tottenham team this season. I think he's going to be playing pretty much every game and probably playing for the full 90. It'll be interesting to see who the new Tottenham captain is actually, because if obviously Lloris is gone, Harry Kane, who's going to be the new captain? But yeah, I think Tottenham will do okay. No European football. I think Ange Postecoglou is a good manager. I believe in him at this level as well. I think this is the right move for Tottenham. Going for someone under the radar instead of the big names like Mourinho and Conte. I think they'll do all right. 6th place. 5th place, I'm going for Liverpool. And this would change if they sign Caicedo. So right now it looks like Chelsea are going to sign them. After Liverpool agreed a deal, he only wants to go to Chelsea, Moises Caicedo. If Caicedo went to Liverpool, I actually would put Liverpool in 4th because I think that is what they need. They need a midfielder. They need a number 6. I think Caicedo would be perfect for them. But right now, with no midfield, they need a left-sided centre-back, I think, personally. I think their attack is a joke, but I don't quite believe in the defence. I think the defence is a bit, I don't know. The midfield is a massive issue for Liverpool, and I can't see them breaking into the top 4 without a midfielder. Even if they bring Lavia in, I don't think that's enough. I think they need 2 midfielders. Caicedo would be a bit different because I think Caicedo is better than Lavia, more experience and so on. I think he would have been a better signing. If they do bring in Lavia, yeah, I can't see him breaking into the top 4 with Romeo Lavia. Right, we've had to just quickly change the camera. My other one died, but we're on to the top 4. And in 4th place, briefly mentioned them just then, it's Chelsea. I think under Mauricio Pochettino, I think they're going to do well this season. Obviously, no European football, big advantage. They don't have to play Thursday, Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, early kickoff. They don't have to do all that. I think they've lost a lot of players, but so far, the players they've brought in and the players they still have, it's a decent mixture. Obviously, Nkunku's out for the first part of the season. They've still got Nicholas Jackson, who I'm a big fan of, you all know that. Mudryk on the left. Sterling can play there. I think he'll have a good season, by the way, Raheem Sterling. But I do think Chelsea, with the right mentor in Mauricio Pochettino, will do well. 4th place. 3rd place, I've gone for my team, Manchester United. I think we will finish 3rd yet again for back-to-back seasons. I think we're more likely to do well in the Cups and the Champions League than the Premier League. Mason Mount, Onana, Rasmus Højlund, they're the 3 players we've brought in so far. I want Amrabat, I want Todibo. They're the 2 players we need. We need a centre-back, we need a midfielder, and I'd take them 2 any day of the week. We will finish 3rd and we'll be fine. In 2nd place, I've gone for... That was the worst drum roll ever. I've gone for Arsenal yet again to finish 2nd back-to-back seasons. Timber, Rice, Havertz, very, very good signings. They've added to a much-needed squad. Well, a squad that needed more players, obviously, because they had a good 11, but then the players who were bringing off the bench weren't brilliant. I think that's going to change this season. They've got a lot of attacking options, a lot of defensive options, a lot of midfield options, even goalkeeper options. Ray has come in as well to challenge Aaron Ramsdale for the number 1 spot. But I just don't think anyone's finishing first other than Manchester City, and there you are in 1st place, Man City. Again, they've lost a few players, Gundogan and Mahrez being the key ones. But they're just going to bring players in that are not better, but could be better over a few years. They've still got a really strong squad. Haaland's probably going to score even more goals. You've got Alvarez, De Bruyne if he can stay injury-free. There's just so much talent. Spent, what, £90 million or £100 million on Vardy from Leipzig, a position they didn't even need either, but you know what, go and get him, why not? But yeah, I think City are going to win it. I think they've got too much star power, and yeah, 1st place. That is it for my Premier League predictions. Where do you think your club will finish this season? Put it down in the comment section below. See you next time.